please.
You talk about good and evil, and then you can't distinguish if an evil thing is really evil or if it's really a precursor to a good.
That's right.
Then you might as well say it's all good. I mean, there's
Sure.
the confusion. That's where the confusion. If they were just to say everything is good, there is no evil.
Well,
we're going to get you some black slacks, a little thin tie, and something to hold in your hand. You can knock on doors.
Well, okay. The thing is, John, that everybody has their position. There's 7.5 billion of us on the planet right now, and every one of us has our position, right? And one man's good is another man's evil, and one woman's good is another woman's evil. And so
But Jung is nesting evil within the good.
no, he's think yin and yang. Yin and yang, right?
But like I said, then we go back to my point. If you can't really tell if something's evil
Right.
I think you can.
or something's good,
I think you can.
Well, we can do, and so
and it's not just intellectual.
if we look at the United States as an example, okay, of what we're talking about, I'm saying that we have our dark side too, of course, but what has happened is that over 400 years we've pressed lots of bad things out of the system, and we've accepted the good things from every society, okay, from every...
You're just talking about our awareness, right? Because there's still lots of...
Yeah, I mean, it's by no means perfect. No, it's by no means perfect yet.
Not complete yet either.
I mean, these things take hundreds of years, thousands of years.
It's never happened.
It hasn't happened yet because as a species, we're only
We're
developing,
doomed.
and we're only talking about stuff that happened in the last 2,000 years, right?
Yeah.
And so, which is nothing in terms of time, okay. But my point is that we do have examples around the world of how things do emerge, okay. And so my position is that the United States, for all its blemishes, which it has many, is an example of the human spirit raising to its highest point, okay, of freedom, okay. And it's by no means perfect, but it's better than all the other systems around.
Labels don't matter.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking about time how, I mean, within my generation, we've seen radical changes in what is considered evil. Premarital sex when I was born was evil.
Yeah.
Now
Well, that was a
it's
sin. I think sin and evil are a couple of different things.
now it's accepted. So, you know,
Or illegal, but it wasn't evil. Evil's a whole other thing.
it's never a fixed point. It's always moving. It's always
It is moving, and it's moving, whatever it is, and I don't know what it is. I'm not going to define it, but it's a medicine ball that keeps getting pushed around among the human species, and we're developing to something. He's saying that this is how the psychic processes work. Okay,
He's ambivalent about good and evil, though.
that's right.
Okay.
Okay, and so he's not trying to teach a new morality. He's trying to teach you how your psyche works, okay? And how you can learn what your fate is, what your best self is. Okay, that's what he's teaching you. And yes, there are...
Then it's Katie bar the door.
Yeah, they're bad people, right? They're bad people.
And I remember the quote that Jung wrote about that very point. I don't have it with me.
Mm-hmm. Which was?
Which was basically, you must live your unlived life, but what if that involves evil? And then he answered the question, he said that you still have to live your unlived life, basically.
But he didn't say that you have to live it in the physical world. Okay, there's a question of inner and outer. Okay, and we're going to get into it in the next week, but he's talking about the inner wife and the outer wife. Okay, so he's talking about Yahweh, and the outer wife was Israel, represented by Job, and the inner wife was Sophia, who he had forgotten. Okay, Yahweh had forgotten. And Yahweh represents the inner, okay? And meanwhile, Adam had two wives. Okay, this is the two wives archetype that I'm going to talk about later, but the two wives need to be inner and outer. If they're both outer, then you've got a problem. Then you have a menage a trois, and there's ultimately going to be a problem in the physical world about that. But if you have an inner wife and an outer wife, okay, an inner wife being the divine feminine or whatever it is, but it could be represented by someone in your psyche, but you don't manifest her in the physical world, okay? Or the reverse works too, because it's for, I'm just using this as masculine, but it can be feminine as well. That, your ideal husband, if you have two husbands in the outer world, you got a problem.
Which Jung source was that? About the two
Wives.
two wives.
It's this. I'm going to talk about it next week.
It's in the answer.
It's in these paragraphs we're talking about.
Skip's teasing next week's product.
You're talking about Edinger, or you're talking about Joe?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Okay, both.
Well, you've got two wives in a way. You got your anima and you've got your projection.
I mean, just read these
I've got one.
paragraphs.
You got your anima, which
Yeah.
is your internal, your inner
Inner-
feminine,
Inner
and
wife.
then you've got the projected, what you project onto a woman. That's your.
Which is the anima as well.
That's your outer wife, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's
Okay,
it's
but
a projection. It's
but
not,
if you have,
means it's filtered heavily.
And sometimes it's two outer wives, and this happened to Jung, as we know, okay, because Toni Wolfe was his mistress, and everybody knew it, including Emma. It was very obvious, okay, and he said Emma represented the foundation of his home and the mother of his children, and Toni represented a spiritual aspect to his life, okay, and so he was able to live with that, okay. He was able to manifest that in the real world and survive with it. Most of us can't, okay.
That's because Emma was so nice.
Well, it was because Emma was
on coins and
no, it was because Emma had been around him and crazy people for years and
So he
years.
looked normal in comparison.
Right.
That's why she was at the asylum living for a while.
No, and Emma understood these things,
Well, she
maybe.
needed high
Intellectually, but emotionally is what always concerned me. She might have understood. I mean, it was
Oh,
good
Well-
for him, but it
well,
wasn't
let's put
good
it this
for
way.
status.
her.
Very good point there.
She didn't leave the marriage, and
But was that a cultural thing? That's
We
what-
don't know.
That's the thing.
yeah, obviously
we.
we don't know, but I think the point that Edinger is making is that is not the ideal, okay, that.
Because he had it.
But the two wives archetype, Edinger's talking about the two wives archetype, which I'll get into. I'll do a workup on it for you next week. But the point is that it's an archetype, but it's an archetype that needs to be lived on the inner and the outer. Okay, so only one wife should be manifested in the world, even though you may have an image of a more beautiful woman. Okay, can I give you a picture of a woman that I would think would be prettier than Debbie? I wouldn't mention it at this stage.
Debbie just took off her shoe. You better tell her.
But but that's inner, and as long as it stays inner, then it lives in our culture. Okay, but if it doesn't live in our culture, and there's two outer wives, then there's a problem in most cases. Okay.
That's very well explained, thank you, that helps me understand, yeah,
It does?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna get to that,
I
but
gotta
we're not gonna
blow
get to
through.
it tonight.
So was Jung out of balance then?
I think he was in balance, but you know,
Zen balance? Oh, that's interesting.
no, he wasn't in balance. Let's
Like
say,
motorcycles?
in terms of his relationship with the women in his life, I think he had a unique relationship, a unique balance that worked for him. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying it's something that we should emulate.
No, because Toni, apparently from the biography read, died sort of, shed. She served her purpose, and he kind of brushed her off at the end. So really, what a lonely ending it was for her for all that. So he was good for him, but it wasn't good for
But
everybody else involved. So,
but
and
you
he
don't know
suffered
you
in the
don't
end.
you don't know that, and I don't know that.
Well, that was according to biography. Is what it
I
said,
mean,
that Toni
yeah,
was
but
kind
I
of
mean, we
sheltered
don't
off.
know why Toni stayed around. And there's this other woman, Marie-Louise von Franz, who came to Jung when she was 19 years old, and he was 58. And she stayed with him all of her life.
Oh, but that was professional, wasn't it? We
She
didn't get
never
that
married.
biography read.
No, Marie-Louise von Franz never married. She built a house that was a tower that was
Oh. Are you writing this book? So,
no, but there are books about Marie-Louise von Franz, and she
Okay.
was a very good writer.
she worked with Emma, didn't she, on the
Yes,
Grail Legends?
on the Grail
that you had
Legends.
recommended.
Yes,
Okay,
Right.
So that's the same.
and she also wrote Aurora Consurgens, which Edinger says is her best book.
Okay.
And I have it. I haven't read it yet, but which is about alchemy, right? But she never married. Marie-Louise von Franz met Jung when she was 19 and he was 58. So, I mean, Toni had been with Jung for 25 or 30 years by then, but she stayed with him and right up through her death when she was 86. So for nearly 70 years, she was dedicated to
That was Marie.
Marie Louise, yeah.